copy this. Copying that. Okay, now I should be able to be heard pretty good. Hello, I am testing out a new setup for my wargaming stuff because I intend to be doing a little bit more wargaming in the future. What I've got here is a scenario for a test I'm running for a war game that I've been working on for, it's been a while since I've started working on it, but I've only recently gotten back into it and sort of adjusted my my rule set. So we're testing out a lot of random shit. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be a clean game. For instance, the cards I made for the game look like this. Not great. So a lot of this is going to be me figuring shit out on the fly. So I don't feel like you need to suffer through this. It's not traditionally going to be a super entertaining one, but we are going to go for it. I'm going to jump in and just do this for maybe like a half hour before hopping off. It's mostly a test of both my setup and the game. Cool. All right, so the scenario for this game is we've got two opposing Viking warbands, one on this side and another on this side, deploying on each end of this battlefield. In the center here, we've got a caravan with two guards and a donkey. The caravan leader and the guards, the caravan leader and the merchant are non-combatants, and they're kind of the highest value targets for this one. On the left side here, I'm going to be painting these better next time, but here I wrote down what we've got in terms of army list on either side. All right. On this side, we've got the Jarl. Every time that you deploy a unit, when you're like buying one for how I've designed this game, you get a card. So for this one, this one is just a warband card. It's pretty shit. It's essentially all it says is you can activate one of your troops. Most of the units, when you bring them in, come with a warband card, so that just goes in your deck. So that's kind of how the activation system of this game goes. When you start, you also get two disorder cards. These basically do nothing. You can use them to bid for initiative, especially when you're playing multiplayer games. That's very important. And then these are specialty cards depending on what they brought. The guy on the left, let's see, he brought two archers. That's 3 Bondi. He's the one who brought the berserker. Okay, so this is not the berserker guy. So this one is only bringing 2 scout. He's bringing a huskarl. No druid, no berserk, no 3rd scout. Cool, that's his deck made. I made these today, the cards. I made the mistake of, when I was originally designing this game, I think the biggest mistake I made was, I think it was like trying to over-design before playtesting. And I'm not making that mistake. When I got back into designing this game yesterday, I put so much work into this when I was first designing this game. But when I got back into designing it, I realized the most important thing I need to do is test, 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 test. So basically every day I think that I work on this game, I'm going to at least run one game to like test my changes when it makes sense. Because if it's not fun, then I don't need to be working on the campaign side of the game, because then I can just change it to make it fun. All right, so they got a leader, 10 warband cards, obviously, 2 disorder, easy. They're gonna have 2 scouts. They do have a berserk, no 3rd scout, no huskarl, no druid. So I can get rid of these. And that's their deck made up. Oops, did that sneak in there? Oh, I accidentally sleeved that in the wrong sleeve. Let me fix that real quick. Okay. These are the sleeves I use for Pokemon. All right, so the goal of the game for the Viking warbands is going to be to secure the merchant. Any of the people around the board are also technically loot, because Vikings, you know how they be. But they're also going to just try and book it to the nearest table edge. And if they get off, that's when the special rules of the scenario start coming in, where essentially horsemen will start coming in. This is going to be Anglo-Saxon versus Viking themed, so forgive the unpainted minis on the Viking side and these Caesarian stuff in the center with the Roman villagers. It's what I had on hand. At least the terrain is going to be what it's going to be for my setup. And I'm using Star Wars Legion tokens to denote wounds and who's gone. There's, I think, a morale system that's going to be in the game, but it's not implemented right now. So we're ignoring, I guess, the morale tokens for now, since it's just not really a system that's in there yet. Wounds is in the game, so we can at least use that. All right, so the first thing, I'm going to be playing this against myself, but normally you'd be playing like with one player having this deck, one player having this deck, and then the enemies will have this deck. How it works is, now that the game is set up, the enemies will flip one card. They got a third card. It's basically just their standard action. It's in this deck, it's basically 8 standard actions for them, which just means activate one of their dudes. And then 2 special cards. That is a little akin to Gloomhaven, how they've done their setup, where it's like the scenario will determine what the special rule is, and I feel like that's pretty clean, so that's where I got that from. All right, so let's go ahead and just start over here. Every player, once they shuffle up their deck, is going to draw 3 cards, of which they can play, they have to spend one of them to bid for initiative, and then the other 2 they can play. So this guy, he got a Disorder, which is basically Fog of War from Undaunted, the leader card, and then a Warband card. That's not too bad. We're probably just going to spend the Disorder card and do that. So we'll go ahead and say that that's what he's going to do. He's going to spend the Disorder card. Normally you do reveal at the same time. I can't pretend I don't know right hand what the left hand is doing, so we're going to speed this up a little bit. So if you wanted to solo war game this, I would probably, I mean, you might do it like this where you have 2 warbands, though there might be rules for not doing it like this, where you just have a single warband. I think that makes more sense, but I'm not going to worry about solo rules for a while. They're going to be in there, I'd imagine, but not for a minute. So in this one, I've got Scout, Huskarl, and Warband. I can use any of these to bid for initiative. This is the higher the number in the upper right-hand corner, the more likely you are to win initiative. But typically, the higher the number, the better the card. So because Scout really is about it's about movement, positioning, and like getting rid of disorder cards, I'm going to use this to spend for initiative. Boom, I can tell, oh, I won initiative, so that means this side's going first. Now, everyone gets to spend all of the cards in their hand. Like, I go, then whoever else goes, and then the enemy will do 2 cards. One we can see that they're going to do, and then the next one that gets revealed will also happen, but we don't get like prior knowledge of what it's going to be. So that's kind of like a Slay the Spire inspired mechanic, where you kind of know what the enemies are going to do. So the first thing I have is just Warband. I can activate any of the units on the board, or I could do Huskarl, which I can activate and then strengthen one of my units. So I have a sheet here that I'm not gonna pull up right now just because it would take a little bit of work at the moment to like throw it up on screen. So I'm not going to at the moment, but essentially my, okay, maybe I should pull it up on screen. Well, whatever. My Bondi, we have the Berserker, who's got a speed 5. I gave everyone speed 5. That might change in the final version of the game, but everyone can move twice or move and attack, kind of like D&D. Let's see if we can even get within range to attack. It's not looking super good to get within and still attack. That's the problem. So maybe the Huskarl's actually kind of a bad card here because we're just out of range of being able to attack, which sucks. So yeah, that's a problem. We might have to activate archers. That way we can shoot at least. So yeah, let's do that. It sucks because strengthen, the Huskarl card, only works in melee combat. That gives you an additional +1 to hit. All right, so we're gonna move up. Archers can only move half their movement if they still want to shoot. Maybe. That's a holdover from Raven's Feast, which is a Little Wars TV inspired mechanic. We'll keep it for now. We'll say 3 inches is all they can move. 2.5 inches is all they can move before they have to shoot. All right, so these two move, and then they're gonna both shoot. We'll take, one of the mechanics of this scenario is that the villagers will run off the board. And if they run off the board, that's when the cavalry will come in and start causing problems. So it isn't a bad idea to shoot at the villagers. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I gave them a defense and armor stat, but it's got to be low. Like, I'd imagine pretty unarmored. We'll say they're an 8 or a 9. Thralls are a 9, so maybe it makes sense for civilians to also be a 9. Like, if you get a hit, they probably die. We'll just call them a 9. Civvies are a 9. Armor stat, 9. So that means they need a 9 or 10 on a d10 in order to attack. So first, our arrow. And the other thing that's nice is like you can just go up and loot them as your action instead of attack, which basically turns them into a piece of treasure. But then you're kind of in trouble because you're attacking at -1 and you move at half speed while you have loot. So it kind of takes you out of the fight a little bit. Or you can just run them off the table edge and secure them. So that's the problem of looting early, and because they're going to run off the table, we might want to shoot at them. But I think in the meantime, we're going to shoot at these two. I'm treating these as just standard feared soldiers. We'll give them the stats of Bondi, which is going to be a 6-up. Okay. Oh, I've got the dice already out. All right, first shot coming in here. The Bondi archers are hitting on a 7-up. That's a 9, so that's gonna hit, and we're gonna immediately roll for armor save. Using the armor of the Bondi, which is a 6-up. 7, so he saves, no penalty there. Star Wars Legion uses like a suppression mechanic if you're taking archer shots a lot. I'm not worried about that because this is a very killy game, so the penalty of getting shot at is you might die rather than getting suppressed. Again, we haven't implemented a morale system yet, so that might end up influencing things. So anyway, shot coming up from up here. I haven't implemented any like, there's like a rudimentary cover system from Raven Feast that's currently in the game. I haven't implemented any like bonuses you get from elevation. I think I do want to do that in the future. So that is something I maybe would want to add, like give him a +1. So you know what, because we're testing things right here, let's go ahead and give him a +1 for having an elevated position here. Again, we're testing. We're not trying to like keep everything super balanced. So instead of a 7-up, it's going to be a 6-up. That's a 9, so that hits. Again, this is a 6-up to save. That's exactly a 6. So unfortunately, both of the archers fail their shots. That's going to happen more often than not with archers. They've both activated. Moving on to Green's Warband turn. Forgot what they had already. And if you like this little like rotating table thing I have, it's just a piece of, I forget the exact type of wood I used, but I went to like Home Depot, got them to specifically cut this really thick cards, like, I forget exactly what you'd call it. It's some kind of plywood, but it's like an extra thick plywood. And then I like just drilled a Lazy Susan to the bottom of it. Just got this card table in today so that I could play up here in the office and just have a nice little space to play. But yeah, this is pretty neat, this little setup. So we've got the Warband card, which is just going to activate anybody. And then we've got Leader, which is going to rally. And that keyword is, again, I'm doing a lot of reworking here. So rally means draw X cards from your deck. These cards can be played as normal this turn. If your deck runs out of cards before you finish drawing, shuffle your discard pile and back into the deck and continue drawing. Now he can also inspire, which means that I could activate one of my guys and then inspire somebody within 16 inches of my leader. And I have it Expire X, it should just be Inspire 1 right now. Oh, it's because I was going to give when you make a leader, I'm going to give them like their special skill. So that's what X wound up being. For this case, it's always going to be 1. Rally would allow me to draw 2 cards, which would be nice to get through the deck. And if I overcommit here by pushing somebody up and then having them go again, I mean, it's pretty good, but then they're going to get like swarmed by enemies, which might not be good because shield walls are a big thing in this game. So you kind of want to keep your guys close together so they can be defensive. But maybe I get them up here and like kill a villager. I think we're going to rally instead to draw 2 cards. So we're going to start there. Rally, draw 2 cards. Give ourselves some more options. All right, so we just got 3 warband cards, which is pretty good. Like, we just can activate 3 guys right now. Let's see. I think we are too far away to do much good here, but we can do kind of the same thing, like move up 2.5 inches with my archers for 2 of them. Kind of get over here for some cover. Get over here. Technically, you're supposed to activate them one at a time. It doesn't matter, though. I'm playing by myself. All right. These 2 are in play. And then we're going to probably just double move. I'll hold off on that one yet. So let's go ahead and try to attack this dude here. 2 is going to miss over here. A 6. I think that misses. Yeah. Yeah, it's a 7 to hit. If it was that guy, it would have hit. Next, we're going to, I think, just double move. And so that's going to be 10 inches. I could move in this guy, who's a herdsman. You could tell because he's got a little bit more leather armor on him. And kind of get him into the mix. Though it's possible he could attack later. I'm going to go ahead and just move this regular dude, double move into here. Alternatively, could move him into here. I haven't yet put in rules for locking people into combat. It might be better to like try to lock this person into combat. And we'll just say maybe the rule is you have to use, for a normal person, like both of your actions to get out of combat, kind of like how most games do it, where it's just like, oh yeah, if you want to disengage. I don't think we're doing attack of opportunities for disengage. I think we'll just do like you have to spend most of your turn to disengage. That seems, I like that from Star Wars Legion. I think that's pretty good. For this guy, I think it'll just be, you know what, maybe there is no rule for locking down civilians. So let's go ahead and just put ourselves right here against this dude and call it. Cool. All right, that's these 3 actions. Now we're going to the enemy. Okay. So they get a feared roll. Now, because he won, blue won initiative, they get to determine who activates. And this is a semi-competitive game, kind of like Frostgrave. So they're going to say that this person activates. Maybe what we'll say is the person who got initiative first determines the first person to activate, and the person who gets second gets the second person to activate. That feels more fair. So I think for this guy, he's going to say this guy goes because he wants him to attack. This guy has Bondi stats against Bondi, so we'll start with the enemy. 1, it's going to be a miss. All right. I forgot to issue these guys. This denotes that these guys have gone. So that means they can't get activated. So the green is now going to go, and they're going to activate somebody because they want to do some fighting. They're going to activate this guy. Well, first, let's see what card it is. Oh, it's actually special 1. So we, instead of the other team getting to determine, that is going to be, let me go to the scenario rule I just wrote. Literally just wrote this scenario. Oops. Okay. Special 1, if any civilians have left the board, 2 enemy horsemen arrive at the table edge where the first civilian to leave left the table. Otherwise, each civilian makes a free 4-inch move. Their AI for making those moves is to move away from the nearest enemy towards the nearest table edge. So for these guys, it's just going to be straight up this way. Boom. Yeah, he's going to go this way. She is actually in the water, so she's going to make a half move because that's difficult terrain. It's going to go this way. These guys technically are not civilians. This way. This way. These guys are probably going to get off the table. She could go this way, but that seems dangerous. Yeah, she might go into the house, actually. So she's gonna try and like jump through the window. I hope I don't forget about her. In fact, we're gonna take the roof off so I don't forget about her. So that way, I'll just do it as like a rule where when people get inside somewhere, the roof will come off so I know to look there. Cool, so that's the special. Nobody got off the table, so I don't need to worry about horsemen. But now I think both players are like, oh shit, in this activation, we better do something about these fleeing civilians because they're probably going to get off the table. And I think now that I'm seeing this in action, I'm feeling that their move of 8 inches is too much. So I'm thinking it's going to be 4 inches standard. Or maybe, yeah, I like 4 inches. Oh, it's going to be 6 inches. I'll keep it at 4. I like 4 inches. That gives people more time to actually interact with the system rather than them immediately getting off the table. Still, this guy looks like he's going to get off on his turn, which means horsemen are going to start coming in from this angle. All right, new round. We do get to see what the next card is going to be for the enemies, though, and it's going to be special 2, which is going to move the merchant. So you're starting to get the basic back and forth of this game. This is essentially it. When the rounds end, that's when everything will get reshuffled. Well, everything gets reshuffled as soon as you're out of cards, but people get to activate again once every unit on the field has activated. I guess every unit on your side. Interesting. Oh no, because then the enemy could just keep going. This will be something to think about. Is do I allow once all of your units have activated to refresh? Or do I have the enemy just keep going until they're out of guys to activate and then like say they outnumbered you by a lot? We'll get back to that. That's an interesting thought. All right, so I've got 3 warband units, so no choice there. Over here. Berserk, warband. Berserk allows the Berserker to get a free attack off. The problem is, can we get him into combat? Where's the Berserker? I think he's the only one made of metal over here. Did I get him in there? Oh, shoot. Did I make it backwards? I might have made it backwards. I think those guys were supposed to have the Berserker. Let's swap out this guy with this guy, because I think that's where I goofed in the model. Okay, so if I did want a Berserk, I could Warband double move and then use Berserk to attack. So with a 10-inch move, that does get him within. Okay, yeah, let's do that. All right, so now it's a roll off. There'll be blue, there'll be gold. Higher roll gets it, so blue's gonna go first. Winning initiative is pretty good in this game. Okay. I think we just need to start getting into combat. I am now thinking that maybe you can lock enemies into, or like civilians into combat because it feels more fun to do that. Or maybe they have to move half their speed in order to do something. Yeah, but the leader could go. Can't get there though. Yeah, maybe we do. She's can't quite escape. I mean, I'm just gonna move him up on their turn. All right, that's their turn done. Try and deal with those escaping villagers. And over here, we're gonna obviously bum rush with the Berserker. Berserker, oh, we get pre-measured. I know we can do it. I have just lifted him up. Okay. Oh, speaking of which, whoops, I did put the activation tokens out for those guys. All right, Berserker's gonna go because I'm going to activate Rage next, Rage 1. And Rage Choose a unit with the Berserker trait. Berserker has the Berserker trait. Make an attack against as many enemy units as possible. I'll change that to enemy models. Originally these were tokens. Enemy models as possible within melee. Add X to the die. So he gets a +1 to hit. He could attack multiple if there were more around, but there aren't. All right. I'm just gonna do that right now. So he gets a free attack at +1. His attack normally is, oh wait, that's meant to be back. Oh yeah, his melee is a 4 up, now it's a 3 up. 5 up. Okay, he got the hit. It's going to be a 6 up to save. Fail. All right, that's a dead dude. I'm just gonna remove him. Cool, first kill goes to these guys. I don't have like a loot system right now. I know there is something in Raven Feast where you can spend a turn looting a corpse. Maybe I will do something like that for like dead enemy models, but at the moment, I'm gonna just say enemy models are just obstacles to the real loot, which is the civilians and this guy. But that is their turn done. Now we're going on to the enemies. And their enemies. Special 2, the merchant is donkey is guessed towards the nearest table edge away from the nearest enemy. It's gonna be this way, I think, but yeah, they're gonna have to try to thread the needle through that house. The problem is the donkey can't get out the window like a person can. I mean, there's not really a rule saying that, but to me that doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I think he's gonna try to do is head this way. So civilians can go, well, I think we just said they move 4 inches. So the guards all get to move along with them. Okay, so they're done. They don't need an activation token because they're not units. Next. Oh yeah, they get another action. All right, feared. I mean, it's all going to be feared from here because we just found both of their specials. Maybe there should be some cards later that reshuffle the deck, so that way it's not all unexpected, or it's all expected exactly what's going to happen. Put a little bit more pressure on people. Okay, your turn. All warband. It's obvious there. Got 2 disorder and a warband. All right, so green goes first. All right. I got the Lord here. I think what we really want to do is to start cutting off their escape. So I think that is what we will do. I think this guy thinks that that is kind of a lost cause, those ones running that way. But I mean, if he does say that, if green thinks that these guys are a lost cause, that they are just not going to stop them, that does mean that when the horses come through, they're going to come through this table edge, which means they're probably going to threaten here. So it's either the green abandons this table edge to try and like hopefully let the horses be there at that problem, but with this water, they're kind of getting funneled this direction. So maybe it's a bad choice, but I think it's still going to be what green does here. All right, green is going to activate 2 units. We're just going to, I think, double move here, 10 inches, because there's not a lot else we can do. I want the Lord to just run up here, and yeah, can't quite catch, but in fact, I'm actually going to back it up so that we start our first shield wall. All right, so these 2 forming a shield wall to kind of cut off this escape. Ideally, like they can block this whole area so that we can just push through there. Shield walls grant a bonus to defense. All right, they're activated. Moving over here. All right, disorder, can't do anything. Activate 1 unit. That guy hasn't gone yet, so maybe we do wait on that one. We're gonna move up on herdsman. here, and we'll just go ahead and move him into combat. Actually, maybe we don't move him into combat, we just move him up and call it a day. You know what? I've got a better idea. They might need some support in this side. So we'll go ahead and move this guy over here. Support that flank a little bit more. Cool with me. Enemy's turn. So it's just going to be 2 feared. So who won initiative? Disorder, disorder. Green won initiative. They get to choose what's the most advantageous. They know the enemy lord is here, but I think what they're going to want to do is probably activate this guy because it's kind of equidistant who this one's going to go for. 4 inches. I think he's just closer to this one. I think he's still going to activate him though. So this one's going to rush over here and attack. Ready to put those dice. Okay. Gold is always going to be the enemies. Blue is always going to be us. I just rolled them at the same time, but that is a miss, so I didn't really need to roll this, even though it was a 10, which saves. Cool. All right, that's done. Activation token. Next is going to be another feared. I guess I could just put them upside down, and then front side up. Okay. Cool. And that means blue gets to decide who activates. I think blue really wants to stop them from getting these guys to go off the table. So what he's going to do is activate this to rush the berserker and slow him down. He's going to attack the berserker. 6 to hit. That's a 5. 2 5s, both miss. Okay. Cool. That's the enemy turn. Yeah, I guess it makes more sense to just have the enemy deck face up because the top card is always face up regardless. Besides just like accidentally bumping it and then seeing what the next 5 cards are. All right. 3 cards. We got Scout, Warband, Warband. Ooh. Getting an additional move here would actually be choice. Scout, you can stock 5, you can move any unit an additional 5 as long as it's light. That's actually really good here. So we are going to put Warband up for initiative. Okay, we've got 2 scouts and Warband also. You know what? I think the movement is going to be really important here. So I think we're also going to go with Warband. So quick roll off here. All right, gold will be green. All right, green goes first. So with 2 scout moves, this changes things because now it's actually possible. So just let me read stock again. Stock does move a light unit X inches even if they've already activated. That does put them within like a way to actually do this. Like stop this guy somehow. It's because this is a free 10 inches if I spend both on the same guy. Is that even enough though to get where he needs to go? Might not be, like, because I move 10 inches here and then he gets to go another 5 before attacking just to try and stop that guy before he gets off the board. You know what I'll say? This guy will get here at the end of his turn before he gets off. That way it's like at least fun that he has a shot. I maybe put him too close to the table edge to start the game anyway. So he's going to go ahead and spend both on this guy to do the Hail Mary rush to stop that guy from getting off the table edge. I think that's fun. That adds a little bit of zhuzh. So neither of those activate him because they're both free stock moves that can only activate light troops. Close to reshuffling here. We're going to stock. Honestly, these guys aren't as close to getting off, but I would like to move. I think stock would allow this guy to get away from this dude, which I think I want to do. Maybe I'll need to make a rule about Actually, I feel like stock wouldn't work on somebody who's engaged. Let me go ahead and make a rule. Choose an unengaged unit. Yeah, move an unengaged light unit 6 inches, because it feels weird to use that to get away when it's supposed to be thematic reason for doing it is supposed to be like, oh, you're moving extra dudes to, or your light unit is moving really quickly across the field. This guy's kind of fine where he is then. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just move this guy up, get him closer into combat. Cool. And then Warband activation. We'll activate this guy. And now he can actually fight this turn. All right, blue for our guy. 3 is gonna miss. All right, gonna need a few more activation tokens. Star Wars Legion. Thank you, Star Wars. Where did I put them? They're in here somewhere. I'll grab something random for now, unless, because I think I took those out specifically for this. So they're probably on a bag on the ground somewhere, The fun part about when you're putting all this sort of stuff together is sometimes you lose track of where you set shit down. Let me see what time it is right now. It's time to go. See you, everyone.